All right, hello everyone, GL2 here, and as you can see, Captain Martinez has everything uprighted in ship shape. Well, that was quite the harrowing experience we had searching the interior of the island, and of course there was that large creature known as Godzilla that we had seen. So, of course, being that I have the biggest and most toys in my collection, I never stray very far from having my Godzilla collection with me at all times. So, even though it's quite a walk on my 1,000-yard or 1,000-foot, excuse me, not that's being built later, the 1,000-foot yacht, the Sea Anomaly, I do have my extensive Godzilla collection with me. And I have my biologist, Dr. Fridge Shivers, who recommended I go through and try to figure out which Godzilla we saw. So, what we know is that Godzilla had a roar. And so I believe what we heard, well, I know that what we heard, because I have recorded it, is this. Yes. So you see, there we are. We had a recording of Godzilla and isolating that from the video. And so what I've done here is I've assembled a portion of my collection, and hopefully we can determine which Godzilla we may have seen out there. So going through here, we have the old 1954 Godzilla, all right, and he looks like this. This model was made from NECA. It has 30 points of articulation. Even his little fingers there can wave and articulate. His elbows, his head and neck, and his mouth. His tail has several points of articulation, and his ankles. Excellent model, feels hefty and heavy. This is made by the company NECA, and I don't think this is what we saw. I believe his side profile was different, so we're going to put him back. We also have a vinyl model of this. Not as much articulation. You see the head doesn't turn. The arms just simply move like that. The legs back and forth, and the tail just kind of swings. But, you know, I thought perhaps having the vinyl would help us determine as well to make sure that that's not what we saw. And no, that's not what we saw. And then, of course, there's the 1963 Godzilla versus King Kong Godzilla. Now, could this be the Godzilla that we saw? I mean, we did discuss, well, GL1 discussed King Kongs in our first video. And, well, this is getting closer, I think, but I still don't think so. He can wave, he has the bendable fingers, the same level of articulation. His head can turn, it turns a little bit better than the other one. And his mouth, open and close, it's rather cute. There's a lot of tail articulation. He's very heavy. I would say he's over a pound in weight, maybe 1.5 pounds. But no, not that Godzilla either. And what we have here, we can go here to the 1985 Legend Reborn Godzilla. No, doesn't he look angry? But as I think we can tell, we can eliminate him right away. The spines are too small, and he has, well, he does have the requisite number. Well, no, he has an extra toe. I think our Godzilla, I saw only 3 toes. So this can't be the Godzilla we saw. He's also, I don't know, a little bit skinny, I think. So it's definitely not that Godzilla. And the similar points of articulation also from NECA. And NECA Godzillas generally were $20 to $24. I had my man scour the globe to get me the best in the collection. And, you know, of course, now some of them are worth quite a bit more. You know, some people might look at these Godzillas here and look at all those and say, Oh, GL2, don't you have enough Godzillas? Well, no, I don't. In fact, this is only a portion of my collection, and there are more. But on with it here, we have the 1994 Godzilla versus Space Godzilla. See here? This one's close, I think, but not quite as heavy in the belly. We have the similar articulation once again. Smaller head. And not as much tail articulation. And what is a Mecha Godzilla? Well, you're asking here. I have an example here. There's the 1974 Mecha Godzilla here. Right there. And this is a vinyl action figure, so it does not have a lot of articulation. But I always wanted a representation of Mecha Godzilla. Thought he was kind of cool. His legs don't move. And this came as part of a 2-pack with, not 2-pack Shakur, 2-pack with 2021 King of Monsters Godzilla on Netflix. Now this Godzilla is very similar. You see he has the big belly, but the spines I think are a little too tall. And he's got a lot of striations, kind of like a bodybuilder, you know? Like that GL1, all that weightlifting he does. And his arms, this is a vinyl figure. Again, it doesn't have a lot of articulation. But this is the largest Godzilla to date. I think it's 1,000 feet tall. And he's on Earth, I believe it's 3,000 years or 1,000 years in the future, something like that. And makes all sort of trouble. And the humans leave Earth and they come back and they find this fellow has grown and gotten more powerful and now has sort of amalgamated, merged with the planet Earth and can control a lot of things. And so you can see that on Netflix. But that's also not our Godzilla, is it? Well, we also have the 2001 Giant Monsters All-Out Attack Godzilla. Now, I like this Godzilla. It kind of looks like a crocodile, you see? And it can't really stand up straight, though. I wish he could, but, he doesn't wish to do that. Again, the spines are a little bit too large. He has a fair amount of articulation. It's a NECA figure again. An excellent mouth with big teeth. And this Godzilla also came with a version that is shooting plasma. As you can see, he's charging up his plasma stream and through his spines and his energy blast. And then when it strikes something, it came with this, and you can see that's what would happen, kaboom, when he strikes. But that's, again, not our Godzilla, is it? Well, while we're at it, I have this little fella here. This is the 1965 Yamara. Now, this is not Godzilla, but this is sort of a contemporary. He's also a good guy. He's a turtle, and he can fly. And this was given to me in 1998 when I was purchasing a 1998 Godzilla from that movie with Matthew Broderick. And I bought enough things that the fellow there said, here, why don't you take this for free? Now, the 1998 Godzilla came with various kinds of promotional things. So this is the 1998 Godzilla. It's kind of like an iguana, and comes off and it's a pen. So this is actually from 1998, and it is dried out and it does not write anymore. And this is the Godzilla straw. I mean, he's clinging on there. Somewhere I have a Godzilla mug and a Godzilla clip-on cup holder for your vehicle. All right, moving away from 1998. All right, we have the 1989 Godzilla versus Bialante. Now, I do not have a representative of Bialante, his enemy, but this is the Godzilla that was triumphant over Bialante. And similar, lots of articulation, long tail, very long, but not paunchy enough. Our Godzilla was a little bit leaning over forward with a larger belly on him, so this is not our Godzilla either. And then we have the 2003 Tokyo Sos Godzilla. This is my favorite Godzilla of all. And he's very big, very powerful. You see that tail? Lots of articulation. It's got a great head with big teeth. What I like about him is he has this like cobra-like, fronds here that sticks out. He's got a large spines on his back. But alas, I know this Godzilla well, and this is not our Godzilla. And to be sure, I have a vinyl version of him with purple spines, and of course our Godzilla that we saw did not have purple spines, but this is the vinyl version, and not as much articulation as usual. Usually the vinyl version is $10 to $12.99, and where the NECA versions are, like as I had said, $20 to $25, so there's more features there. So we're striking out though, right, on our Godzilla collection, being able to identify the Godzilla that we saw. Now, this is Shin Godzilla. Now, Shin Godzilla came out in 2016. Excellent Godzilla movie. Maybe the best. So I strongly encourage you to see Shin Godzilla. Usually the people story in Godzilla is distracting and annoying, but this one actually is very good. And this is Shin Godzilla. Some people found him to be quite off-putting. He's got tiny little arms and sort of a tiny little head, and his tail can also shoot lasers. In fact, here's a representation of angry Shin Godzilla powering up, and he can shoot these powerful beams that really can go through everything. He can level an entire city with either beam and shoot airplanes out of the sky or nuclear missiles. He's very, very powerful. Again, I encourage you to see that movie. And I have the vinyl version of Shin Godzilla, which is a little bit bigger than the NECA versions, but again, less articulation. And I just wanted to be able to compare the vinyl Shin Godzilla to other vinyl Godzillas. Well, we're going to move backwards a little. We're going to 1995 Burning Godzilla, where it says Godzilla vs. Destroyer. Now this is vinyl. He does not articulate much. His mouth stays open. But again, this is not our Godzilla, is it? Now, little side note here. This is Godzilla versus Megalon, and his enemy here, this is actually not Megalon. This is Gigan, but he was fighting Megalon in this movie, and Megalon made friends with Gigan, and they both tried to take out Godzilla, but Godzilla made friends with Mothra, and well, it was all over for the two baddies. But anyway, that is Gigan, and I have here from Minimates 2014 set of that movie. This is the Godzilla from that movie, as well as Gigan and Mothra and Titanosaur. So when looking these up, my man would discover that now they are this 4-pack, which was I believe $20 at the time. Now it can be yours for on sale for $120. Now, one of Godzilla's early enemies was Anguirus from 1955, the 1955 Godzilla movie. And this is Anguirus, and It looks like a man in a suit with his knees bent, doesn't it? Interesting. All right. Well, we mentioned Space Godzilla, and or perhaps we did not mention Space Godzilla, but one of Godzilla's enemies is Space Godzilla. Some of Godzilla's DNA was blasted out into space, merged with some crystals, and he came back to battle Godzilla to prove who was the real Godzilla. So thus came Space Godzilla, and of course our Godzilla 1. This is a vinyl version. And this here is a rubber version. So clearly, this is not our Godzilla that we saw with those big shoulder crystals. And the Godzilla that did not get along with that fella is this Godzilla right here. He's also rubber, and he has that wire inside him, so you have some articulation of his mouth and his hands and his tail. Of course, the more you bend it, the more you risk breaking that wire inside, so I don't bend it very often. But for you, I bend it. And now, some of you may have seen Godzilla, King of All Monsters, and Godzilla's one of his arch nemesis, which is King Ghidorah. Now, the only King Ghidorah representation that I have in my collection is this armored King Ghidorah. It shoots his arms have they shoot off his missiles, and he has a missile here, and he has lasers on his head, and his wings flap a little bit. And you can get this in the package for $378. But you can see it here for free. But we have certainly struck out on identifying our Godzilla, but we will continue to search through my collection. I will be conferring with Dr. Fridge-Shivers and see what else she can show here. But my last Godzilla, and one of the first Godzillas I ever owned, was this 1978 Rubber Godzilla. And Rubber Godzilla used to have a wire in him and be able to keep his mouth closed, but of course, as I had said, the wire breaks, and the wire in his arms, he used to be able to move his arms, but it ripped through the rubber, much to my disappointment. So for many years, I put stick pins in his arms so that the arms wouldn't rip off, and I took care of him since 1979 when the arms ripped. I remember being very sad about that, but I took care of him hoping that one day I would find a glue that would be able to hold these arms on. And I did. And we all know what that glue is, right? Shoe glue. That's right, shoe glue. It has the strength, flexibility, and waterproofedness to be on my yacht and hold this Godzilla together. So I have been holding on to this Godzilla for 44 years. Now, this is not our Godzilla. Obviously, he's not punchy at all, and he's not leaning over, and his tail is too short, and as are his spines. But what I can tell you is, when I was a young boy, my father purchased for me the large version of that Godzilla, Shogun Godzilla. It was probably about this big, and he had a fist that fired off, and he had a trigger on the back of his head, and flames would, like on a little bit of a vinyl piece, would flick out his mouth. And well, I loved that Godzilla. Well, his arm came off, but I held on to it because I knew that one day I would be smart enough to be able to figure out a way to put his arm back on so it would stay on. And don't you know it, I am smart enough to do that. However, my father didn't recognize that I would be able to do that. So guess what he did? Yes, he did what a lot of fathers do when they're cleaning out the garage and they see something broken. He threw it away. So it is gone. And I thought to myself, GL2, you certainly have the money to purchase another one of these. But every time I looked at it on eBay, I was just disappointed in it. And I just felt like, I just don't care anymore. I mean, sure, its fist flies off, but it just really doesn't look like Godzilla. So I'm not going to get it, and I'm not happy my father threw it away, but who really cares at this point? Because I love my 1978 Godzilla, and I love my favorite Godzilla, Tokyo Sos Godzilla, right here, is just so cute, isn't it? But that doesn't help us with our problem, and we need to identify what that Godzilla was, and perhaps some of you will know. And again, his roar. That's the roar. So I will be searching through my collection some more, and we will get to the bottom of that. And this is GL2 saying ta-ta until next time.